Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Stapakaya Jadharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Stapakaya Jadharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Aravarishthaya Ramakrishna Te Namah. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been studying teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. In the last class, I was trying to explain how Sri Ramakrishna is helping us in our spiritual practices. It is very important to understand the personality of Sri Ramakrishna. Of course, when we study his teachings in the Gospel, it gives us an idea about Sri Ramakrishna's personality. The more you understand him, the more it is helpful to you in your spiritual pursuit. Everything is very definite when you come to Sri Ramakrishna. There is no ambiguity, there is no confusion. Everything is clear, straightforward, simple. That's what is needed. So in order to understand Sri Ramakrishna, what is very important is that you should also become simple. Otherwise you can't understand him. Sri Ramakrishna is Kripa Murti, the embodiment of grace. Prema Murti, the embodiment of love. Daya Murti, the embodiment of compassion. All these three are fully manifested in Sri Ramakrishna, which are the essential, most essential qualities of the personal God. And Sri Ramakrishna wanted to give live demonstration of these aspects in his life. So he had come. If you go through his life, you will understand when he completed his spiritual practices, when he reached the summit of realization, what did he do? Did he simply go away, merging himself in the Absolute? No. As soon as his realization was complete, he became very much concerned about sharing his divine treasure with the people around the world. That is Sri Ramakrishna. So, He went to the rooftop of the Dakshineshwar Kali temple, crying at the top of his voice, please come all of you, whomsoever you are, to receive this divine treasure I have got. I have procured this divine treasure for your sake. Take, I am ready to give. But come. This is amazing. Really it is amazing, because generally we see children calling the mother. That's very extremely natural. In every home where they have got children, you have that experience. Children calling the mother. But mother calling the children with so much concern, you find in Sri Ramakrishna. Why did he cry? Because he was full of love, full of grace, full of compassion. That's the beauty of Sri Ramakrishna. So, if you are the student of spiritual life, you have to go in depth studying life of Sri Ramakrishna as well as his teachings. Whatever he has said is solid truth. And he invites everyone. Only qualification required to come to Sri Ramakrishna is you must be hankering after spiritual life. That's all. That's all what is needed. You may be in any part of the world. You can be very dear to Sri Ramakrishna, provided you aspire for spiritual realization. That means you must have deep hankering after the knowledge, the spiritual knowledge. He is there to help you immensely. Immensely. The more you take to spiritual practices seriously, the more you understand Sri Ramakrishna. So, about this point, about this theme, I have talked quite a bit in my last class. What Sri Ramakrishna wants, it's very clear. He says, open your heart. That's the first thing required. Don't pretend yourself. Be open. Then only we can give good treatment. If you cover up everything, how can you give any treatment? Be frank. That's the meaning. Expand your consciousness. As I said earlier, be simple. If you are simple, you are very near to God. Be sure of that. That means discard crookedness. Be straight and true. Be up and doing. And if you are the student of Sri Ramakrishna, you must always remember what I said now. And the most important is that Sri Ramakrishna tells, go forward. You must keep moving onward and forward. Never stop for any moment, for any reason. Never slacken your spiritual practices for whatever reason. Rise upward. Ask like the thunder and you will receive like the shower. God is Ananda. He is joy unbounded. If you have to have the glimpse of that joy, you should see Sri Ramakrishna. How he moved with the people, moved with the devotees, how he treated them, how he talked to them. He laughed, he joked, he danced, he mimicked. There was explosion, new rhythm of joy infinite. And the culmination of this, he entered into samadhi. So, it should convince thoroughly that it is not a fiction. What is described in the scriptures is all true. Why it appears like a fiction to us? Because we are not practicing properly. Simply telling, I am in the spiritual life, I am doing little japa, I am doing this, I am doing that. That is not enough. You must remove the word little. I am doing little japa. Remove that little. Then you are sure to go onward. So, Sri Ramakrishna's life should give us tremendous inspiration to move forward in our spiritual practices and see how Sri Ramakrishna, through his look, through his talks, through his behavior, through his life, through his teachings, how he was helping. It's only to help anybody and everybody who would come to him. There were many people who would come, mostly weekends, to meet Sri Ramakrishna, and they would be amazed to see Sri Ramakrishna in that ecstatic joy. So, when the devotees are there, in that situation, in that surrounding, what was happening? All the time Sri Ramakrishna kept their mind focused on the divine. Focused on the divine who was himself. Is it not helping the spiritual aspirant? You are not diverting your attention to any other way when you are sitting in front of Sri Ramakrishna, when you are hearing what he is talking, when you see him in his ecstatic joy, your mind is totally fixed on him. So painlessly, he was the helper in yoga. Yoga Sahaya, Jagadishwara, Yoga Sahaya. Swami Vivekananda has composed Kandana Bhavavandana. Every day we sing in the Arati. This is the phrase, Jagadishwara, Yoga Sahaya, Lord of the universe, who helps all the time, always giving helping hand to the spiritual aspirant. So, and now we must understand the flow of his compassion, daya. Out of his compassion, he made those devotees that he was none other than God himself. He has come in this incarnation to reveal the truth, not telling God is somewhere, you please do like this, you will get like that. He didn't go that way. He said, God is here, standing in front of you, pouring his love, pouring his compassion. You can understand God only through these ways. Visible manifestation of God. Then you are convinced about the existence of the divine. Then you are convinced about your spiritual journey. Sri Ramakrishna not only provided the general atmosphere for spiritual awakening of souls, he also took special particular care of every individual so that nobody's spiritual attitude of mind should be interfered with. He was capable of handling all types of people. That is Sri Ramakrishna. So that everyone could grow according to one's own roots, according to the law of one's own growth, and reach self-fulfillment in the earliest possible time. We can feel on our soul the full impact of Sri Ramakrishna, the helper in yoga, when we take him simply as what he really is. What is he? The Supreme Lord incarnate. That's why Swami Vivekananda coined that word, Avatara Varishtha, Supreme Incarnate. Man of Vivekananda, such superhuman mind. He is describing Sri Ramakrishna as Avatar Varishtha. And how true it is you will understand when you come closer to Sri Ramakrishna. When you take spiritual life seriously, when you become extremely simple and straightforward, you will understand the Supreme Incarnation. Sri Ramakrishna not only proved God to man, he equally forcefully proved man also to God. That's very important. He demonstrated how man can storm the citadel of God, tear the veil of Maya, and verily become that. In the Upanishad we say, Tattvamasi, thou art that. He showed that man can make God run about. How? Through his power of love. As he himself did quite a bit of running about pining for the devotees. He did that, as I said earlier, standing on the roof of the Dakshineshwar Kali temple. He was pining for the devotees. Why they are not coming? Why they are taking so much time? Why there is delay? And what is infinitely more, Sri Ramakrishna showed that God so much reveres man, so much loves man, that he becomes man. Thus we see Sri Ramakrishna as Yoga Sahaya, helper in yoga. He has brought yoga home both ways. God to man and man to God. So he is a connecting link, as it were. One doesn't know for whom he wept more. Did he weep for Kali more, or did he weep for Narendranath, who became later on Vivekananda? As man, he wept for God, he wept for Kali. And as God, he wept for man, he wept for Narendranath. That's the beauty of Sri Ramakrishna. Yoga was thus brought home to man in this reinforced manner. Sri Ramakrishna gives the essence in his teachings on the silk thread and the sacrificial lamp, which he mentions in the Gospel. It's a beautiful analogy. He tells there, while talking, at the time of meditation, it is Sri Ramakrishna's instruction, please note that. Think that you have tied with a silk thread your mind to the lotus feet of God, silk thread, so that your mind may not stray away from there. Why he is using silk thread? Why not other thread? Because the lotus feet of God are indeed very soft and delicate. They will be hurt if any other kind of thread is used. See the beauty. He further said, should one think of the chosen ideal at the time of meditation only, and then forget him at other times? Should you have to behave like that? You should always keep a part of your mind attached to God. You must surely have noticed, Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel, that a sacrificial light has to be lighted at the time of the worship of Durga. That light should always be kept burning near the deity. It should not be allowed to go out. If it does, it augurs ill for the householder. Even so, after the chosen ideal is brought and seated on the lotus of the heart, the sacrificial lamp of meditation on him should always be kept burning. That means you should always meditate on your deity, not simply early morning or whenever you get up and whenever you go to bed. Titbit? No titbit business. Titbit for the beginners. For the child to stand up, some concession is given. But you don't expect the titbit throughout your life. Unless you put forth maximum effort, how can you make any progress? While one is engaged in worldly duties, what he should do? That's the constant question being asked by the people. One should watch at intervals whether or not the lamp within is burning. Though you are engaged in work, some portion of the mind should be there thinking something else. Instead of thinking something rotten, if it is thinking about God, you are blessed. That's the meaning there. Keep always thinking. Always thinking. When you are engaged in work, your mind, part of the mind thinks of God. When you are free from God, when you are free from the work, the mind is totally thinking on God. That means you have to maintain that level of thinking all the time. That's very important if you are really serious about your spiritual life. Pervading everything and transcending everything, we have Sri Ramakrishna himself. By being so simple, being unadorned, being open, being guileless, so lovable, Sri Ramakrishna has made yoga so homely and easy, because when one cannot do anything else, one can get everything by just intensely remembering Sri Ramakrishna, thinking of him. You will get the same result as you would get by practicing pranayama, breath control and hatha yoga and all such things. A great devotee, Girish Chandra Ghosh, he said, he who will think of Sri Ramakrishna will surely get his treasures. What are those treasures? The treasures of discrimination, devotion, knowledge and yoga. They are the treasures of Sri Ramakrishna. Just as the son inherits the patrimony, in the same way, when you hold on to Sri Ramakrishna, when you think of him, you will inherit all these treasures of Sri Ramakrishna: discrimination, devotion, knowledge and yoga. And who would not like to remember this lovable Sri Ramakrishna? Girish Chandra Ghosh said, it is not difficult to adore, it is not difficult to love and worship Sri Ramakrishna. What is difficult is to forget him. It is being revealed to me that there is a greater manifestation of God in man than in other beings. Sri Ramakrishna is telling this in the gospel. He is telling by this way how the man's life is very precious and he is not simply an insignificant creature. He is not simply an animal. Don't discard your personality that way. And Sri Ramakrishna is telling, God is telling me, as it were, I dwell in men. Men means including women also. So be merry with men. Among men, God manifests himself in a still greater degree in pure-souled devotees. That's why I feel great longing for Narendra, Rakhal and other youngsters. And further he says, there is a greater accumulation of divinity in man. It is said that man is greater than the salagram, the symbol. We worship Lord Vishnu in that salagram stone, and man is Narayana himself. If God can manifest himself through an image, then why not through man also? God is born as man for the purpose of sporting as man. Rama, Krishna and Chaitanya, they are examples. By meditating on an incarnation of God, you are meditating on God Himself. Don't have any kind of doubts about this fact. And the incarnation, they are not men like us with impure minds and all sorts of bad habits. No. The fullest manifestation of God you can see in Sri Ramakrishna, who is totally pure. And Swami Vivekananda also has said in one of his talks, each soul is potentially divine. You are all divine. Children of immortality. Amritasya putraha, he said. So the goal is to manifest this divine within by controlling nature, external and internal. Do this either by work, or worship, or psychic control, or philosophy, by one or more, or all of these, and be free. That's the whole of religion. That means we have got all those faculties in us. First of all, you must be very definite about your nature. What is your nature? My nature is divine. I am essentially divine. Then only everything goes okay. If you start, I am a sinner, I am dirty, I am useless, I am hopeless, then there is no hope. You are essentially divine. That's what Swami Vivekananda said. That's what Sri Ramakrishna said. God dwells in man means God is in your heart. For various reasons you are not able to see Him. That's a different issue. But don't condemn yourself that you are useless, hopeless and so on. So we are born in this world to work out and realize our true nature of divinity. That's why we are born here. Not simply to procreate children. Animals also procreate. What speciality in you? It's not for procreation you are coming here. It's not for simply sex life you are coming in this world. You could have been born as an animal to have sex life. Why should you have to be born as a man with thinking mind and so on? But they forget the divine nature and become worse than animals. Animals are far better many times, I feel. What brutality, what crime, what all sorts of things people are doing in the world. It is terrible and horrible. Terrible and horrible, both. So at least this much awakening must be there. I must awaken myself. You see, if I have to clean my body, I have to go and take bath. If you take bath, that will not make my body clean. That means each individual has to work. So, in a broad way, the classification has been done. There are 4 broad classifications: active, emotional, meditative and rational. The whole people occupying this world can be classified under these broad groupings. And there is a method for each of these. The active type, he converts activity itself into a means for spiritual realization. How? He works selflessly. He loves to work. He wants to die in doing selfless work. And he will die in that fashion. And he is happy dying that way. And he doesn't want to take any reward, offer everything, the fruits of his actions, to God. God is not simply imaginary. It is a living force in him. It's a living reality which is ever inspiring him to pursue his spiritual path. While working in the workaday world, a spiritual aspirant will not grumble against the work assigned to him and complain, "Why do I waste my time in working instead of worshipping?" He doesn't complain that way. Because to him, work is transformed into worship and his energies exercised in the discharge of his duties are bent to the spiritual goal. The second class of groups, emotional. In the case of the people who are emotional by nature, all their love and emotion that are generally bestowed upon worldly objects, they are all directed to the personal God. They love, they worship the Lord with all their heart and soul, without any thought of requital, without even the thought of self. And love of the Lord is the easiest and most natural of disciplines. There is third group. For them, there is a method of conquering nature by mastering the mind, the internal world of man. It is a scientific method of concentrating the powers of the mind on itself, ridding oneself of nature's control, and thus gaining freedom. In this discipline, one has to guard oneself against the danger of being lured by psychic powers and going astray. The last group of persons throw the search of light of rigorous reason on all entities, including their own selves, apprehend their ephemerality and distinguish them from the eternal self. By force of will, they give up once for all that is non-self, shoot themselves into space, spiritual space, and realize themselves as the ever-free, ever-pure, ever-blissful Brahman. Like this, there are broad classifications. Common to all these disciplines is self-abnegation. Now, in this perspective, we should understand religion. It is a bold, vigorous endeavor to free oneself from the shackles that bind one. It's a tough fight. It's not easy. That's true. It's a tough fight with the forces that thwart the manifestation of the divine. It is an intense struggle to come face to face with the Atman, a deep yearning for realization. So religion is to be understood in this way. You have to be prepared to give a good fight to all the negative obstructing forces. Being entangled in the world and its material activities, people have become slaves of nature. They have become slaves to greed, lust and anger, slaves to name and fame, slaves to wealth and learning, slaves to ever-receding hope and happiness. Unless you become aware of these and put forth maximum conscious efforts to deal with them effectively, you can never be freed from fear, you can never be freed from anxiety, you can never be freed from tension, and you can never be freed from suffering. So, proper practice of the means results in realization of the truth in its true form. So Sri Ramakrishna has come, he has given the truth as it is. That is, he has shown through his life, he has shown through his instructions how one should utilize one's life in a glorious way. Page 594. Master Mahesh said, one who lives in the midst of lust and gold can't help being stained by it, even if only slightly. You told us about Jainarayan. He was such a great scholar. When you visited him, he was an old man. You found him warming pillows and blankets in the sun. Master said, but he had no vanity of scholarship. Further, what he said about the last days of his life came to pass. He spent them in Benares, following the injunctions of the scriptures. I saw his children. They were wearing high boots and had been educated in English schools. By means of questions and answers, Sri Ramakrishna now explained to him his own exalted state. Master said, at first I went stark mad. Why am I less so now? But I get into that state now and then. Master Mahesh said, you don't have just one mood. As you said, you experience various moods. Sometimes you are like a child, sometimes like a madman, sometimes like an inert thing, and sometimes like a ghoul. And now and then you are a natural person. Master said, yes, like a child. But I also experience the moods of a boy and a young man. When I give instruction, I feel like a young man. Then there is my boyishness. Like a boy 12 years or 13 years old, I want to be frivolous. That's why I joke and make merry with the youngsters. What do you think of Naran? Master Maharaj said, he has good traits, sir. Master said, yes. The shell of the gourd is good. The tanpura made out of it will give good music. He says to me, you are everything. Everyone speaks of me according to his comprehension. Some say that I am simply a sadhu, a devotee of God. If I forbid Naran to do something, he understands it very well. The other day, I asked him to pull up the curtain, but he didn't do it. I had forbidden him to tie a knot, to sew his clothes, to lock a box, to pull up a curtain, and similar things. He understood it all. He who would renounce the world must practice all these disciplines. They are meant for sannyasis. While practicing sadhana, a man should regard a woman as a raging forest fire or a black cobra. But in the state of perfection, after the realization of God, she appears as a blissful mother. Then you look on her as a form of the Divine Mother. A few days earlier, Sri Ramakrishna had spoken many words of warning to Narayan about women. He had said, don't let yourself touch the air near a woman's body. Cover yourself with a heavy sheet, lest the air should touch your body, and keep yourself 8 cubits, 2 cubits, or at least 1 cubit away from all women except your mother, and another to the outside world. Since his father's death, Narendra has been worried about his worldly affairs. He has a slightly calculating mind. How I wish that other youngsters were like Niranjan and Narendra. Today I went to the village to see Neelakanta's theatrical performance. It was given at Nabin Niyogi's house. The children there are very bad. They have nothing to do but find fault. In such a place, a person's spiritual feeling is restrained. During a performance the other day, I saw Dr. Madhu shedding tears. I looked at him alone. To him he said, can you tell me why people feel so much attracted to this place? Meaning himself. What does it mean? Master Maharaj answered, it reminds me of an episode in Krishna's life at Vrindavan. Krishna transformed himself into the cowherd boys and the cows, whereupon the cows began to feel more strongly attracted to the cowherd boys, the gopis, and the cows. Master said, that is the attraction of God. The truth is, the Divine Mother creates this spell, and it is that which attracts people. Well, not as many people come here as used to go to Keshav Sen. And how many people respect and honor Keshav? He is known even in England. Queen Victoria spoke with him. It is said in the Gita that God's power is manifest in him who is honored and respected by many. But so many people do not come here. We shall stop. Fortunately, you're all trying to know more about spirituality, more about Vedanta, so you are trying to come, attend the class. It's good, but if you do it earnestly, if you are sincere, you are sure to get the benefit. And I always keep telling the people, if you come to Sri Ramakrishna, you are fully secured in your spiritual path. And practical spirituality, that's what is needed. That's what you find in Sri Ramakrishna. So we have to be practical in our spiritual life, in our actions and behavior. That's how we should translate Sri Ramakrishna's teachings in our life. Anybody to speak? Anybody speaking? You want to tell something? You? Do you want to say something? But what Sri Ramakrishna has said that it is true you are engaging in worldly duties or worldly activities, but what he is telling thereby, even though you are engaging in worldly activities, there will be some part of the mind which tends to think something else. He is pointing out that instead of thinking something else, you keep thinking God. That's the way of keep burning the light of the lamp. So that's what he meant. That's what he said. It is true. When you are working, part of the mind is concentrated on the work which you are doing. But what he's telling is, the other portion of the mind, it's also true. It's true. We have got, though I am working, though I am giving talk, some portion of the mind is thinking something else. He's telling about that point. Instead of thinking something else, think of Sri Ramakrishna, think of God, so that you maintain that spiritual fervor and the spiritual level inside your mind. So, even though you are engaging in worldly activities, you will not be tainted by the bad effect of that, because that lamp is always burning. It helps you. And when you come back home and you relax, then revert back. When you are freed, totally you can think of him. That's the way. That's what he is telling. And it is true, what is easy, what is difficult, it's open for interpretation. Becomes difficult depending upon the samskaras of the mind. If the samskaras are, if that each man's mind is different, what is difficult for one man is not difficult for the other. So, but the truth has to be taken, and you have to know what is what, and if it is difficult, you have to apply more strict measures you have to take in order to overcome the difficulties. That's the way. You can't simply stand and say, oh, there is a rock in front of me, how can I walk? Then you sit down and die. Or the other method is you take some instrument and break the rock and go forward. So it means like that. And everyone's life is difficult in the sense he has to give a tough fight. That's what I told. Religion means giving a tough fight, because you have built up the life in one fashion, all these births. Now suddenly awakening has come to you, suddenly you have come to Sri Ramakrishna, and suddenly you are touching his feet, and suddenly you want to enjoy his love and affection, grace, everything. It's all right, he gives that. He gives a glimpse of it. That's the indication. Well, God is with me, so I should come this way more and more. So you have to fight. The impact of all the previous births is there, embedded in the mind, loaded with those things. You have to unload it. You have to completely evict all those things from your mind. Then it becomes easy. That means you must have tremendous patience, you must have tremendous willpower, and you must have tremendous faith, and you must surrender. That's why God incarnates in human forms, so that we may get hope, so that we may think, oh, we are not lost. God is there to help us. And it is true. It is true also. Otherwise, why should they give instruction at all? So instructions are given so that we can follow the instructions correctly. Even though it appears difficult in the beginning, it becomes easy later on. It depends upon how we do and how we are strong in our aspiration. That's important. And if your mind if you are yielding to your mind, which is inclined towards the world more, naturally it's too difficult to come to spiritual path. That means it only indicates you have to have more control, you have to have more, you have to understand more about your mind than before taking any steps in your spiritual path. That's all. But you must know, the Sri Ramakrishna, when he came, he did not simply say, I am incarnated and I have got the truth right now. No, he underwent the human life, and he passed through a lot of uh, problems and difficulties, more problems, more difficulties than the worldly people. So all the time his eldest brother was telling, what you are doing, you are not going learning, you are not going to school, how do you live your life and so on. He was coaxing him and forcing him to go, and he has to fight with those things, and how much struggle he has to do with that pure mind, how much meditation and concentration he will have to do. It was not easy for him also, though he was but why he did so? The life in an intense way. That's what Sri Ramakrishna said, I have done maximum. You do 1/16 of what I have done. He is not expecting you to do in the way how Sri Ramakrishna did. It's not possible also. And he himself, 1/16 of what I have told, it goes again and again off. 1/16 of practice if you do, you will get everything. And Sri Ramakrishna himself practiced 12 years of meditation, intense meditation, praying, crying, weeping, and so on, and to have the vision of the Divine Mother. So he didn't have the samskaras as we do have, but he voluntarily takes the veil of Maya. Otherwise he can't stay in this world. If he remains like a god, he can't stay in the world. So if he has to become a human being, he must have the human qualities to exhibit that. So he had all those things. He was, when the arm was broken, he was feeling pain. He was caught by cancer, but how he has to fight. Though he was supremely devoted to Mother, and he would see all the time, he had the vision of Divine Mother. In spite of it, how much he was suffering. He could not take food. How much, and those days, there was no medication as you have today, and there is no way of relief at all, only suffering, suffering and suffering. And body became so slim, he could not even drink water. So it is not difficult, and he didn't have any bad samskaras to undergo such disease. But then why should he have to suffer cancer? But Sri Ramakrishna himself explains in one way, because he took up all the impurities of the devotees. So he has to burn them. So this cancer has come. Sri Ramakrishna himself explains that way. That means he is not afraid of suffering. That you must know. We suffer more because we are afraid of suffering and we don't want to suffer. We see evil in suffering, so we suffer more. But what Holy Mother says, take suffering in a different, view it in a different way. Suffering is a blessing. Why suffering comes? To burn your impurities, or psychic control, or philosophy, and the incarnation. They are not men like us with impure minds and all sorts of bad habits. No. So like that, we shall stop. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, down deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that baths my very selves. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy. How huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth retinue. The playthings of lust are the ties of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath thy feet. How I long for the day when an instant separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, but thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, May all be actuated by noble thoughts. May all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy. May all be free from disease. May all realize what is good. May none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous attain tranquility. May the tranquil be freed from bonds. May the freed make others free. May good be done to all people. May the sovereign righteously rule the earth. May all beings ever attain what is good. May the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time. May the earth be blessed with crops. May all countries be freed from calamity. May holy men live without fear. May the Lord destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.